Ask for the, call this meeting to order, vote to call this meeting to order.
Just call it to order.
Just call it to order.
Yep.
All right, I call this meeting to order. Okay, first thing is, Grant County Treasurer.
No approval minutes.
Approval minutes.
April the 8th.
Or April the 8th.
Right?
Yep.
April the 8th, yeah. I'll make a motion, we approve the April 8th minutes.
Second.
What are we on, approving the claims?
No, we're
Minutes.
Minutes from the last
That's the
meeting.
last meeting.
Oh,
Chuck was not here, but
Right,
was Mike here?
yeah,
Pat moved it and I seconded it.
that's good. Okay.
so all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain because I wasn't here.
Yeah.
Now we'll move to the claims. The Grant County Treasurer for $32.38. Loan from the GDIF to Maintenance Fund. Let me keep going.
Yeah, do them all.
Do them all.
Got to work, Kenny can't vote.
Nolan Holloway, $3,189.43 for Potter Creek. The fund has $89,415.44 in the fund. IMI grants for $1,547.09. Luger Creek, which is 113, has a fund of $113,432.54. IM aggregates for $999.86 out of the Luger Creek Fund that has $113,432.54. John's Repair Service, $1,000 for Luger Creek. John's Repair Service for $1360.75 out of Luger Creek. John's Repair Service for $7,391.20 out of Luger Creek. John's Repair Service, $794 out of the Luger Creek Fund. John's Repair for $464 out of the Luger Creek Fund. John's Repair for $3,024 out of the Luger Creek Fund. John's Repair for $308 out of the Luger Creek Fund. Tom's Excavating, $635. Burkhart Swagger. The fund has $6,788.03. Redmond Excavating for $455. Polywalk. That fund has $12,126.27. And Matt Carney Farms, $291 Hall Run, and that fund has $4,172.79.
Question. What's all this Luger Creek? Is that trees?
It's washouts on different properties on the Monroe, the top of the Monroe ditch. The $7,391.20 is for dredging Monroe ditch for 4,000 and some odd feet. He had just got the contract for brushing and he was there, $2.10 a foot. He said he would dig it, so I had him dig it. And that's where the riprap was going to the different rock chutes.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
I got enough. Polywalk, what's the Redmond doing there?
Redmond pulled down a beaver dam right against the road, and I contacted the farmers of that field and they promised to eradicate the beaver.
Okay.
Got the beaver before they got they got cleaned the thing out before they got the beaver.
Yes, the dam was right by the road. They were able to go right in there and get it and out pretty quick.
Yeah.
I got it.
You wanna,
I'm at
Can we
motion.
get a
he
motion?
made a motion.
Kenny made a motion. Do I hear a second?
Kenny made the motion.
Yeah.
Kenny,
Yeah.
Kenny, who's second?
I'll second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next one is Cook's Excavating, $5,280 out of the Pike Creek Fund that has $146,667.41.
Is this, trees down or what was it?
Trees down and ones that are gonna be down, just
Okay,
Who would pay this claim?
second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed?
Abstaining.
Same.
Kenny?
Kenny?
No, I'm saying,
Yeah,
Kenny
okay.
abstains. Okay, moving on to old business, Little Crane Pond, approval for resolution.
Okay, I received an email from Kyle Persinger, and it states that, he spoke with the Marion Utilities, and they're gonna wait and monitor the drain this spring to determine its needs. Then they'll get back with us.
So we need a motion to table this or just table
It'll just keep appearing on our
it?
agenda.
Okay, we'll
Table
table.
for years.
Okay, all right. Next on old business is Little Crane Pond, Laura Marshall, obstruction.
that's fire pit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fire pit, yeah.
Is Laura Marshall here?
yeah, she is.
Did you get approval to put this fire pit in?
So,
Right here.
my contractor, it's my understanding that my.
Never come up here.
Come up a bit.
I've never mentioned this before, so I apologize.
Just state your name and your address, ma'am, if you would.
Lori Marshall, 2605 West Ticonderoga Drive. So last fall, I hired who I thought was a reputable contractor to put in a small fire pit on the back of my property, and didn't realize until we had a visit from the surveyor after it was done that it was actually in the drainage easement. So we are, I believe, Andy, can you refresh my memory, please? How far are we?
We're about 15 feet.
15 feet from the edge of the bank. So we met with Mr. Cates and with Raymond last week on the site. Andy was there. He's responsible for dredging everything. We had an agreement at that time. We had a meeting of the minds that we would increase my easement for the drainage ditch to 50 feet. And that allows for ingress and egress to do the dredging, the spraying, the mowing. The pit was not a cheap pit to put in. It's pushing $3,000 at this point in materials and labor. I relied on someone who I thought was a contractor that was going to take care of all of the research and any permits required, and apparently he did not do that. And so to my detriment, now we're here. So I've added up just a brief recap of what it might cost to relocate that, and it's well in excess of what I paid originally to have it put in. There will be destruction of some of the block. It'll have to be rebought. There's not really a place to relocate it, so it's most likely going to be just demolished if we don't have an exception right now to leave it where it is. Wendell, did you have anything that you wanted to add from when we were out? Since you're the one that actually does the work.
No, go ahead. When you get done, I'll talk.
Okay, that's all I have. I'm asking for an exception to leave it where it is. I have pictures. If anyone, needs to see the pictures, there were 2 trees that were sort of going to be impeding the arm and the sweep of the mowing. So we've taken those down and had those moved and relocated. There were some large tree trunks that were located that I inherited when I purchased the lot. We are in the process of getting those moved out, and all of the excess firewood has been stacked neatly so that it's not going to be in the way of tractors. And I think Andy had said that when he was there that he would be able to get his equipment in and out okay. That's all.
Did you get a letter from Kyle Purser?
I got a letter about a week ago, yes, and that's when Raymond and Wendell and Andy and I had the meeting at the property.
Well, those guys can't speak for the board, okay?
Okay, I understand that.
And we've got other problems down through there. And it needs to be moved back.
So
Whether
it's,
you move it or we move it.
so unfortunately, it's not an easy task to do that, and it was a lot of money, and I relied on a contractor.
I realize that,
to
but
have
the state law, the state drainage law says it's supposed to be 75 feet.
75, or I thought
75
I
from
thought-
the edge of the, from the edge of the,
it's 40
It could be up to 75.
up to, okay.
you know, but they come in here and let you have 45 feet. And
And I was told 40 feet.
40.
Yeah,
40,
Yeah.
since I started, since I realized that there was an issue. And so Raymond suggested that we increase that to 50. So that comes back a good ways past the fire pit, so that there's room on both sides of the fire pit to get in and around, so that there's not any obstruction, and there's nothing that impedes into the ditch. And then now those 2 trees, the extra trees are actually gone now, so.
well, here a while back, we had to come down through there and clean that ditch. We hired Andy to come in there and dip it, put it in a dump truck and haul it out, okay?
Yes.
And we need to move the thing back. Now, the people built a swimming pool there.
And there are
She
sheds that are,
come to 2 meetings. And, excuse me. She came to 2 meetings and then he come to a meeting, okay? And then they ended up signing the whole harmless.
and had I known
Best
any of
way,
that was
you know.
necessary, I certainly would have followed that protocol, but I hired a contractor that I thought was someone who was knowledgeable about the requirements. I wasn't. When I bought the lot, it was just bare ground. I paid cash for it. I got no survey. I had no idea that there were all these setbacks. When I got the permit to build the house and the surveyor came out, I got 4 flags where my foundation was gonna go. I got nothing else. So I'm caught
Vacant lot beside this?
in the middle. I'm sorry.
Is there a vacant lot beside?
No. What I purchased was 2 lots that were combined as 1 parcel. So there will never be anything built on either side of me. I have 200 by 200. And then if you're saying up to 75 feet, that comes pretty close to my back patio, to be honest, because of the way that the lot is laid out, so. but there's
There's 40 feet there.
Yes.
But the state law, drainage law, is that anything that can't be moved can't be there, okay? You know, because if we come down through there, if you put a building on there, it has to be towable so they can move it. And that's the way with this fire pit.
So
And
what about the pool next door? Did they get a variance then or an exception?
do what?
Did the neighbors, did Job and Holly have an exception then for the permanent structure of the pool?
Yeah, but it was 35, 40 feet, okay? And they signed they signed a hold harmless so that, went down through there and cracked the concrete or something, we wasn't liable.
And I'm certainly willing to
This-
sign a hold harmless as well.
I appreciate that the surveyor was out there. This is a drainage board issue, okay? He's supposed to come out and see what's going on, come back and give us the information, okay? But the best way here is for you to get it moved.
I understand that might be the best way, but financially not feasible at this
If we
moment.
come in and move it, we'll send a Bobcat in or something, and you can tell us where you want it dumped or we'll haul it away.
I guess I should have hired legal representation to come down here. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
When you buy a piece of property, you need to know where the boundaries is at and what restrictions you have. And
Okay.
apparently you didn't know any of this.
I
And I'm
did
sorry,
not. I did
but
not.
that doesn't relieve you of the responsibility.
So that's why I hired a contractor professional that I thought was going to,
But we let you get by with it, then the other person, he does, so I won't go to the drainage board and get a reduction in easement, and I'll just do it. And that's where the problem's at.
I want you to understand that there was not any type of malicious intent here. It was
We're not-
complete ignorance on my
Yeah, we're not
part.
questioning
And
that.
I very much regret that it's transpired the way that it has. And so I am here trying to offer solutions. And I think that we have tried to work. We've certainly met with, folks several times to try to figure out how we can make the ingress and egress, work without having to be financially disadvantaged.
Well, there was a time limit, a 45-day time limit on Kyle's letter, okay? And we're going to maintain that creek down through there. And there's another in there. So, I mean, that whole subdivision was set up wrong, okay? Well, it wasn't wrong if another attorney here in Marion was supposed to put an easement down through there on the deeds, and I don't think he done it, okay? So you decide whether you wanna,
So I'm caught.
whether you wanna move it, and that way you get to save your patio bricks and so on and so forth, so if you wanna build it someplace else out of the way, but we're, some way it's gonna be moved. And it'd be a lot nicer and less damage if you move it.
Going to the vote. Did you want to say something, Ryan?
That Wendell talk if you're done. I mean,
Okay, yep,
if
I'm
you
done. Thank you.
think you're Bill at the moment.
Wendell Cates at 2650 West 50th Street. I will not deny that I told her if I would try to work with her for 3 years, if she'd move it, put a 50-foot right of way in. But somewhere or another, we've got to stop things out there and make it so we can use the ditch. And I guess I feel like the drainage board needs to help us out to hold our line.
This is a drainage board issue. It's not a farmer issue and not a surveyor issue, okay? You guys bring the information to us, but we've got to maintain that ditch down through there. It costs us extra money to get it dipped and hauled out. And some way, this needs to be taken out, moved.
If we
We
let
sent her
her
a
do
letter.
it,
The next one might be
next one
worse.
say, well, she did it, and we gotta draw the line somewhere. And just because she didn't do the right order, that doesn't excuse her. I'm sorry, but you need to know what you're doing when you do something like this.
You know as well as I do but there's others out there that they gotta work on the ditch. And we're in a similar situation, okay? The whole subdivision
Yeah.
mess, okay?
Yeah, that was a total mistake from the beginning. But no,
No, we will.
somehow we gotta hold our line. Somehow we gotta hold the line.
Get this,
We gotta have drainage.
let her save the stuff. She, get somebody to go in there, take it out, she'd build it someplace else. She got another lot there on the other side of the house or whatever, 200 foot,
So,
okay?
but no,
And buildings, it's right in the state law that buildings have to be movable. You can set a building on there, as long as you got it on runners or something. And when we come down through there to work on the creek, you just hook onto it and pull it over out of the way. My understanding is this is not out of the way.
yeah, so,
I've seen it. It's not movable. It's gonna have to be removed.
And I know she's got a bunch of money in the thing, okay?
yeah. So,
But somehow, when you and Jim out there, when this thing first started a year in October,
When we went out, when me and Jim went out, the foundation for it was already started and some of the blocks were already in it. I'm not sure how long from then till she received her letter, as far as it being the drainage easement. But it was already the foundation was already in at that time.
well,
I know I sent you pictures on August 2nd last year, and it wasn't finished.
Okay. It wasn't finished, the base was started and some of the
Right.
blocks were in.
That's right.
And she was notified then?
At some time after that, but I do not know what the time frame was.
I thought they talked to her.
We didn't talk to her then, no. She would have been sent a letter from either Jim or from Persinger. I'm not sure who sent the
I got
first
the letter
letter.
from Kyle about 10 days ago.
No, did you get one last year?
No. Jim Todd came out and we talked about it. But it was already done.
So you were notified last year that it was in the,
It was done by then.
I realize there's money here, okay? But it's just, we got ground that needs got water coming through that creek, and we need to maintain that creek, okay? We wouldn't have hired you, Andy, to go out there and you had that little excavator and you had to haul the stuff out. By rights, what we should have done is come down through there and just throw the stuff over on the bank, send a can in there to level it off, okay? That was the right way to do it. And this is what we've got into over it. So,
So is there a motion?
I guess she has the option whether she wants to make arrangements, start moving the stuff, or the board hire somebody.
I know it's not my vote and I don't get a vote on it, but I still want to mention that I do have excavation experience and that I think you can still get through there with the fire pit and dig and maintain the ditch with it there. And if she's willing to give an extra 50 feet to go around or extra footage to go around, when Andy cleaned it last time, he had to go around trees that are there now that will continue to stay there, and the trees will have to be gone around to dredge the ditch next time when it does need dredged. And the ditch will need dredged every 5 to 8 years. It's gonna have dirt in it every 5 to 8 years, and it's gonna need the dirt hauled down. Because you can't put the dirt in the yard, because if you put the dirt in the yard, you're gonna impound water in these people's yards. You can't do that. You have to let the yard water get into the ditch. So I mean, the dirt's gonna have to be hauled out regardless.
no matter what.
Well, it's just,
It's unfortunate.
it's unfortunate, but I mean, it's got to come out of there and be moved, okay? We're not gonna try and go down through there with a tractor
shovel.
duals on with a mower out there so we can mow that ditch bank and upset a tractor and cost us $350.
No,
I'll tell you what, Fort Lancaster, they come back to the board for not having room down through there. But right here is the state law. I was reading it out there in the car, okay? And by rights, it starts out at 75 foot.
But then
But we give them,
give them 40.
Reduced it to 40.
yeah,
well,
so,
I'll make a motion that we pursue this and the removal of it.
Removal of it. Do I hear a second?
that's,
All in favor? Signify by saying aye. Aye.
Well, you were hoping to vote? I voted in favor of it. I wasn't sure. We have a motion in a second, right?
Yeah, to remove it.
Okay,
remove it.
okay. I vote for aye.
Now, I'll go along with, if she wants to get it out of there in the 45 days, start on it and get it out of there in the 45 days or whatever. 45 days, whatever Kyle said her, okay? That'll let her save the bricks and so on and so forth.
Yep.
Because if we put it up for bid for somebody to go in there a Bobcat, they just haul it out.
That'll be 10,000.
Yeah, that's junk. So,
Yeah, and unfortunately, she's the one that's getting made example of. But it's gotta be moved.
Yeah.
yeah. I appreciate you.
Moving on to new business, the Jesse Tippy discussion for $2,158.35 was in the maintenance fund.
got one for you too, Glenn.
Where's this at? North of Oak Hill or north of Sweet?
You know what they're looking at.
200 north, but we're at.
No. It's east of the Washington Township Fire Department.
Oh, no.
It's, the Jesse Tippy, I do believe, was a 12-inch, 10-inch, and 8-inch tile put in back in long time ago. The message that I handed out has an arrow coming up from the bottom right with a word tile on it.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming after looking out there that is the Jesse Tippy. Whether it dumps into the other orange line before it gets to the road or if it dumps into at the road is the question in my mind. Because the two pink dotted lines are drains from the back of the houses, both directions. They come and they appear to dump into the solid orange line, which is not the Jesse Tippy, but they are on the assessment roll. If they're not if the Jesse Tippy daylights at the road and does not have laterals coming into it, it shouldn't have the house charges on the Jesse Tippy. And the assessment roll needs to be fixed or corrected. But my question is it all right to spend the money on the Jesse Tippy fund to investigate this to determine if the Jesse Tippy joins the other tile or if it goes and daylights at the road by itself? I had Eric brag at the road and he tried to take his jetter and camera up the tile, but it is a single wall 12-inch tile or 24-inch tile, and it wouldn't go upstream because of the ribs. It was getting caught on all the ribs and it just tried to kick itself back into the hole.
So what do you have to do to clean roots out of this or what?
What I was thinking, there's 3 green marks, and the middle green mark is a surface inlet. My thought was to have Braggs in there with their camera and float the camera downstream with, Eric's done it before with water bottles, hooked them to the camera to keep it floating and then let it float downstream to see where the laterals come in. And then possibly open up the Jesse Tippie line, put the camera in there and see if we can chase it all the way to the road. If the Jesse Tippie has no laterals coming into it, I would remove the houses from the assessment roll, and it'll just be farm field on the top.
Is that the purpose? We're trying to get the houses off?
My purpose is to determine whether or not they actually go into the Jesse Tippie or if they're in a drain by themselves.
Well, if there's a drain by themselves, where do they go to? They'll go to.
The solid yellow line, orange line goes to the road and outlets in a 24-inch tile. And there's a 12-inch tile to the east of that, but I'm not sure if that's the Jesse Tippie, not positive. And I don't know if Ed could enlighten us more on it or not.
How much money are you doing that?
That 2,100, whatever that was on,
You don't have much money.
right. It hasn't collected since 2015.
What is the collection rate?
So it's low.
It's $1.85 an acre.
That's not be many acres in it then either.
No, there's not.
What's your problem out here? This one just tile is not, water's not getting away or what?
There's a hole back, at the back of the yards here, there's a big hole, what'd you say, 50, 60 feet long now at least, that we've opened up. Because we thought there was a blockage downstream. If the houses are going into the Jesse Tippie, this drain is going into the Jesse Tippie. I don't know which one is the Jesse Tippie. There's 2 outlets at the road and I don't know which one it is. So
Are you gonna know anymore?
if we camera it, we should be able to tell what.
You know which one it should be.
Yes,
It should be the one going to the east.
it should be from the southeast, coming from the southeast, yes.
So basically, we need to use the funds in
A little bit of them.
in that account to
Clarify.
find which one is our legal drain.
Correct, and then modify the assessment roll if needed be. If the houses are going into a private drain,
And then not know.
they shouldn't be paying. If the houses are going into the private drain and not the Jesse Tippie, they shouldn't pay them a Jesse Tippie, nor should the Jesse Tippie help them solve their problems.
Correct.
And nothing against Ed, but if the holes in the back there are not part of the Jesse Tippie, then the Jesse Tippie shouldn't be used to.
Which line are the holes in?
The one going to the southwest.
Okay.
Jesse Tippie.
Which you think is not the Jesse Tippie.
Correct. Do you want to speak, Ed? You have more knowledge there than me by far.
Yes, I'm Ed Blinn, represent Bankview Farms, and both of these ditches were put in the 80s. Prior to that, it was an open ditch back to the property line, 200 feet. And Jim Helm, the neighbor that the open ditch was on, wasn't happy with that, so we put a 24-inch plastic back 200 feet. Well, somewhere along the line, the southwest side was an open ditch too, but it was an old 12-inch clay. Joe Seward put it in new, and I don't know how they connected. It's an old plastic down there, 15-inch plastic, and that is the one that is caved in. Then the neighbor which was, I believe, a Jason Helms come in there and put another plastic line in, ruined what was left of the original one by sticking holes in it. And then they filled the holes with river rock and boulders and concrete. His tile he put in is above grade of where the water flows in out of the field. All he's catching is the surface water.
That's all he cares about, probably.
Yeah, that's all they cared about. And what it was doing, it was blowing up holes from the original one because there's 30 feet of elevation with so much pressure coming out of the 12. It was blowing up in this lady's yard. So they just dumped more concrete, bricks, shingles, and everything else into the holes. I do have it all dug up now so we can see what the problem is, but it's turned into a nightmare.
So we don't know, we know who caused it,
Yeah.
in essence.
But they're gone.
But if we determine it's not the Jesse Tippy, we could care less. We just
To a point.
don't spend any money on that part of it. We fix his.
The Jesse Tippy's at 24.
No, is that a second pipe at the road at 12? The one-
Yes, yeah.
Do you think that is the Jesse Tippy?
That's the one that I was always told was the Jesse Tippy.
Okay.
But we put it in on our own expense, not the county's. Many, many years ago, I would say I purchased that farm probably in the earliest of the 80s and put a 12-inch concrete through there.
But you didn't get county help to put it in.
No,
And do you remember giving it to the county?
no. All the ditches that's been put in there has been at my expense or the side of the neighbor of Jim Helms.
So that doesn't tie in with any of the other tile there, just the one that goes to the southeast.
Correct.
To me, that means that's the Jesse Tippy.
Well, that's what I always thought. The other thing you're getting into, you want to take a real strong look at this. I believe you told me that you've already spent money on these neighbors 8-inch to get them relief
Yes.
out of the Just Tippy fund. And that is a private tile. And that's the one thing we do not want to get into is the county paying for people fixing their own drainage ditches.
With them being on the assessment roll, I assumed that the tile went to the Jesse Tippy, but
Yep.
after looking at it closer, I don't think they do. But they're paying on the Jesse Tippy, or they were before 2015. So the money that's in the account is old.
Why is it
money.
not collected since then?
Nothing's been used.
It's just shut off.
It's just shut off and collected
Reached its limit.
interest. And Ed was under the understanding that the maintenance part for the Jesse Tippy was north of the road. He wasn't even turning in bills for the tile repair that he was doing because he didn't think it was covered. Quite a bit of the money, Bankview Farms has got 141 acres in it. Oh, no. Yes. And then there's a Kitts that owns about 50 acres and a Mitchell that owns 93 acres. Those three farmers are the
Watershed.
watershed. The homeowners at $1.85 per acre or $1.85 per house. The farmers have contributed to the fund a lot more than what the homeowners did over the years.
Well,
It's gonna leave.
have a hearing to raise the homeowners.
If we spend this money, will it start collecting again?
If it gets down below $1,946.
Oh, you know it will.
My thing is if they're not on hook to the Jesse Tippy, they need removed from the Jesse Tippy assessment roll. And but then Ed's stuck with a mess back here behind
And is the hole in what you think is a Jesse Tippy or the private?
It's in the private, in my opinion.
And from what we observed, it's the top one that's running good water is just surface water. Is tile that drains the field's been screwed up when they put the one over the top of it.
Well, those tile drains, those houses and so forth, they gotta go someplace.
They go into a private tile separate from the Jesse Tippy. They run parallel to each other for a ways, 200 feet roughly.
Yes.
But then they've been charged, in my opinion, and they're not up to it.
So do they come together though, somewhere downstream?
In the open ditch.
At the opening, at the outlet, where they both daylight, is the only place they're connected.
So they don't, it doesn't eventually get in the Jesse Tippy then?
Mm.
This is one that's really hard to explain on paper, looking at pictures. You almost gotta be there to see this mess.
And ain't there enough money to dig it up and find out for sure?
Well, if it's a private line, I'd hate to tear it up to find out it's not the
Yeah.
right line. What I'd like to do would be dig into the Jesse Tippy at the back of Ed's property, the 200, right there at the edge of the house lot and the farm field. Find it and camera it to the daylight and prove that's the only place it goes, and then the others is private. And unfortunately, Ed will have to figure out how he's gonna fix that in that lady's backyard pit. But Ed's donated most of the money into the kitty.
Those guys with cameras only go about 500 feet.
It's about 200 feet, or a little over 200 feet from the back property line to the daylight.
I'll move that we allow the surveyor to investigate this problem as he sees fit.
Okay. I just want to inform you of the situation, and you guys can scratch your heads with me and that. But
After if we spend the 2,000, I don't know what the camera's gonna cost, where we're gonna get the money to pay the camera?
oh, it won't cost that much. A couple $100, I think it'll float it down there. And we could get into it and do it with a die, but that's not gonna tell us if laterals are coming in.
Uh-huh. Let him
You ever second?
investigate it and see what it is. Make it right.
Then, I mean, as far as the holes in the back, do we use any of the funds to help Ed, since I use?
You gotta wait and determine whether it's part of the ditch or not.
Yeah. So I would
I've
use-
got it dug up on both property lines,
Yeah.
so.
It shouldn't be that hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All,
we'll figure something out.
all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Other business. Back Creek proposed project. Simon M.
Morning.
One.
I'm Simeon. I'm here with Commonwealth Engineers.
Oh, you're Simeon.
I am, yeah. This is, that is Bud Shelton, the utility superintendent for the town of Fairmount, and Rob Bellucci, the licensed engineer and project manager for this. Do you mind if I pass out some packets to you guys? That's fine.
Thank you.
Of course.
I'll separate my tap water.
So I am here talk about our proposed project, which is the third phase of the long-term control plan for the wastewater improvements for the town of Fairmount. In specific, this consists of collection system improvements for the town. It involves a 36-inch and 42-inch interceptor that'll be installed primarily on the east side of Bat Creek, going north to south in the town of Fairmount. If it's all right with you guys, I'll spend a few minutes kind of going through this packet and familiarize you with the proposed work, and then we can have a discussion about it afterwards, and feel free to stop me at any point if you have questions as well. But further on the project, the purpose of the installation of this large interceptor sewer is to relieve the existing interceptor network, which is heavily stressed. It's undersized, and as a result, combined sewer overflows are a frequent event for the town of Fairmount. So increasing the size will allow for greater transport of wastewater from residents to the wastewater treatment plant, which serves as a vital step in this long-term control plan, which is to ultimately reduce combined sewer overflow events. So as I was saying, interceptor line A, that's the main portion of the project where the large interceptor is going to be installed. It's 36-inch and 42-inch interceptor. And it's fairly deep with an average depth of 15 feet. And why I'm here is part of that will be installed within the drainage easement within the 75 feet located on both sides of the creek. The sewer line B is also going to be installed on the west side of the creek. It's a much smaller portion of the project, but will also be partially located within the drainage easement. And finally, there's a diversion structure which will be located at the plant that will allow for the future diversion of flow to the wastewater treatment plant. So if you look at some of the figures attached, that outlines the direction of the interceptor path. And more specifically, there will be the largest stretch of installation occurring south of Washington Street, where it will pretty much all be within the drainage easement. All the installation will be subgrade. All the permanent installation will be subgrade, and the surface will be restored back to existing conditions, with the exception of the diversion box structure being located at the plant. It'll extend to be several feet above, 3 feet above the grade to serve as a preventative measure for large flood events. And in addition to the work occurring within the Bat Creek drainage easement, when looking at the GIS for Grant County on Elevate or Beacon, there are 3 regulated drains that are displayed on that. I coordinated some with Raymond and on these, on the status of these regulated drains, trying to find more information about them. I believe that's the second or third to last. Oh yeah, the last. I guess this one's probably the best. Figure 1-3 calls out where those could be potentially located. The northmost drain, when pulling the drain card, was a ditch. So after walking the alignment, that appears to have been flattened since there isn't a noticeable ditch in that location. And then the 2 southern tiles, which are the Blue Ditch and Fairmount Ditch, were listed as drain tiles, and those were also not visible along the stretch of Bat Creek. I believe the dates of installation on those from the tile cards were in the 1880s. So I think, yeah, 1883, there's actually correspondence attached.
But you
with
didn't
some.
find any outlets?
No, no outlets. So we tried to investigate and see what was there. Go ahead, Randy.
Were there any comments from Fairmount as far as whether they've had those in the past or done away with them, or as far as the drains?
I'll let Bud Shelton
Yeah.
speak on that.
I'm Bud from the town of Fairmount. We have strategic sewers in those same positions, and we're believing that those sewers or those storm sewers were picked up in our system. Back in the day, it was dilution as a solution, so you would just run everything you could to the creek. And we believe that our system took those on and are now playing a part of that.
Absorbed into your network,
Yeah.
basically.
Okay.
Works for me.
So, go ahead.
What are you doing, cutting Black Creek, 2 or 3 places or what?
So we're not crossing Back Creek at all. We're installing an interceptor sewer, and it's going to be running parallel to Back Creek in certain areas. So we're not going to be crossing the creek or any excavation of the creek itself. It's just going to be within the 75.
Basically, you just want to work in the easement.
Yes, exactly.
On that subject, we already crossed the creek in 4 different locations, and the sewer that we're putting in, the trunk line, is going to do away with at least 1, maybe 2 of those situations where we go under the creek. So we hope to eliminate. And that's what we're trying to do, is separate one side of the ditch to the other side of the ditch so that our system can flow and not be going under the creek.
Does Black Creek have some problems, water problems or something over Fairmount?
Well,
Weeds.
we haven't, since Back Creek was dredged in what, 99, I think,
It's been a while, yeah.
and has not had a water problem
No,
like it did have.
not at all, yeah.
Because I can remember seeing the John Deere store, it wasn't underwater, but the houses, all there was, but it's not been a problem since we dredged it. But I don't know if the dredging solved the problem or if there are other problems, I don't know.
Or you guys are doing a better job getting the stormwater away.
Well, I know that when we dredged it, when you guys dredged it, it helped considerably. We haven't flooded the banks in 25 years probably.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that if we go through the creek or anything, that we're low enough that we can go in and dredge it, okay? That's what I-
Are we going, is it going to be a problem if we come through and dredge it again? Are you going to put any obstructions between that we can't get in there?
The obstructions that are there are already there. We will not be adding more obstructions. And we have moved along the south part of that interceptor, which would be south of Washington Street. We will be moving that interceptor further away from the creek itself. So we'd actually be increasing your ability to get back in there and do what you needed to do. Last time they dredged it on the west side, south of Main Street. And so they didn't even approach the east side. But I believe now, avoiding a few CSO outlets, which is probably 20 feet wide at any given place. So 3 or 4 outlets, you would be able to get through there completely.
What was Main Street? What Main downtown or west
John Deere. No, Main Street, but Washington Street is more John Deere.
Washington Street at the stoplight?
East and west.
Is it the stoplight?
East and west,
Okay,
and then north and south of Main Street.
yeah.
We just gotta make sure that if we get in a problem, some reason runs in my mind that we the one over there and cut brush or something.
Yeah,
Huh?
we had brush
Yeah.
Yeah. Over there on
the last time we did something over there.
Where was that?
Didn't we have a brush problem spraying?
And we don't spray it because
Yeah.
neighbors don't want to spray, but the only way to keep it down is to spray it.
Yeah. So
Blame the neighbors.
sorry, pardon. But to the north side, on our banks, what the town owns on our side we spray those, and the county's been good to us to come along and just mow that off once a year. As far as the south end, I could use some brush removed, and then I wouldn't let it get back. But and I can approach you for that at a later date or now, but yeah, we don't like that either.
We just want it so we can keep water moving through there.
Yeah. And
I don't know how long it's been before the 1999 that Back Creek was worked on. I don't know.
yeah, I hired in 99, and one of the first things I remember is a big flood coming in, and that whole west side was just flooded, and even a little bit up to the east. But since they dredged it, which was real soon after, I've not seen anything. But, yeah.
But you won't be working in the ditch at all?
No.
Okay.
You just want to work them the right of way.
Yeah, we want permission to
Be in the
put our
right.
infrastructure
And
in.
we could still dredge,
Yeah, you can
Yeah, because it'll
still,
be 15 feet deep.
yeah.
everywhere that you dredged, you can dredge again.
And the manholes will be flush
Yeah.
with the ground, so there shouldn't be a problem, I assume.
Yeah,
That's correct.
it's true.
15 feet deep now.
Yeah.
It's all gravity, so we gotta go below everything else and try to intercept it.
That's pretty darn deep.
I wish we could get by with only 15 foot deep in Marion. It's not gonna happen.
Well, the Fairmount flows from south to north. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? The
Yeah.
Back Creek flows north. So I know that.
So do we have a motion for this?
I move we allow them to work in our easement along Back Creek in Fairmount area.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Yep.
You can have these sheets back if you want.
Oh, can I ask a question? Are there gonna be any additional permitting requirements outside of this to work within the drainage easement?
Well, to my knowledge, we're already going after DNR, but I just want to make sure we stay in the good graces of you folks if there's any other paperwork.
Not since they're not working in the ditch.
Yeah.
You have to get one from area plan?
Yeah, we're getting one from area
Well,
plans and
they
similar.
want to make sure that we approve it, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't think there's anything else.
To my knowledge.
You want these back?
No, keep them.
Okay.
I don't need them.
I have plenty.
I guess area plan.
Thank you.
They probably won't work on the
Yeah.
next town.
Thank you.
Isn't that the area plan?
Yeah, I just,
Yeah.
you had a question. Doc,
Oh, yes, sir.
well, we can take this outside unless you guys want to know. But, yeah, well, I've been in contact with these folks, and as far as I understand it, it's just a grading permit, and I did need the board approval, they'll move on ours, so thank you very much.
Thanks.
Next is Hummel Creek quotes for 56,000. In the fund is $56,334.10.
You want a map? You want a map? Letter or what was sent out to them? You need more papers in, Gordon.
Yeah, yeah. This is on the north end of Humble Creek, is that right?
This Brankles?
Yes, Brankles. Well,
Okay. It's what Greg brought in.
Brankles' neighbor.
It's what Greg brought in now.
Yes,
Before.
yes. South of Tom Texas.
Yeah. What do we know about this extreme excavating?
I do not.
Are they new?
They're new, but not totally new.
New to us.
New to us.
That's a big.
Where you talk to anybody that's used them?
And, the surveyor,
Howard County or,
I think Howard, yeah,
and he
either Howard or Tipton I talked to.
didn't have a problem?
They didn't have a problem with it.
You ever heard of them?
Pig.
What's the,
That's a pig.
Yeah.
Wow.
this is Tom, this is the homeowner.
He surely did.
$20,000 difference.
Yeah, he surely did figure that right.
They're right together on the last one, as far as bids.
That's his.
Wow.
So have you talked to Extreme about the bid?
It's the first I've seen the bid.
He said he's gonna do the same exact thing.
I would rather learn on a brush job than a digging job.
Uh-huh.
A heck of a rate difference, or a heck of a difference.
Maybe he's doing it to get his foot in the door.
You should have noticed on the last one, his competition was close.
Is that extreme, any Redmond from Tipton too, is he?
Redmond's from Sharpston, or Sharptown, Sharpsville.
So you talked to the Tipton County surveyor, they're used to extreme, or?
He was okay. I mean, I talked to a surveyor. I thought I would have called Tipton. It's been a couple months ago now, Gordon.
Okay.
Since, Newcomb, is that there, Craig Newcomb? I think is the owner. He came in with his information and rates and approaches this spring to get put on the list.
Well, we got a motion?
I make a motion to accept the extreme for what, $26,028?
Yep.
To work on Thumb Creek.
We got a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next one is the Thompson Branch quotes. There's $113,432.54 in the maintenance fund. And that extreme bid is $19,824.75.
Thompson Branch is out by Eastbrook High School, south on 5, and then a quarter of a mile to the east of 5. And that does go into muck, and it is a digging job also, so. Big difference again.
Back on the Hummel job, how soon is he gonna move in?
I don't
Are
know.
they doing that now or fall or?
It wasn't specified in the
Okay.
letter. Put stipulations on it if,
I didn't know if we stipulated it in the letter or not.
no, we did not.
And I reckon Rickles probably won't care that much.
Would prefer, but
Yeah.
not too late right now.
So do I have a motion on the Thompson branch?
I'll make a motion, we award it to Extreme, $19,824.75.
I second it.
Do they have a bonding issue or they present a bond?
They've got their insurance.
That's what I'm.
They've got insurance. Didn't they, Mary? They showed you insurance, Mary, right?
Yes.
Thought they did.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Guess we'll see how they are.
Yeah.
I'll keep an eye on
I
it.
got a brush job, a dredging job, so.
You have to ask if there's any other business.
We're saving taxpayers money.
Is there any other business?
Okay, I need to know, is there a status on Cart Creek yet? Because I'm going through my files.
We're ready to set a date
You are?
pretty well. We don't. I would like to wait till next meeting to set a date for sure. For Cart Creek and Rouge Run. They'll both be ready by next meeting to set a date for a hearing.
Okay. Do you have a petition for Rouge Run so I can make a file for it?
The board,
Yeah. We decided to raise it.
Because when we did that driveway crossing.
Yeah.
Okay.
took money out of account, and no money.
Alrighty. And then, Brett Newhouse got a hold of me and he's wanting to raise the rate on North Ranch at Waters because he's wanting to install new tile. And I need to know if, like, how long you would need to go over the assessment roll and kind of see if it needs any tweaking to where I could set a date.
I have to look at it. Shouldn't take that long.
Yeah, it's just 26 parcels, so I thought, well, can we go ahead and set a date on into like July, which would give you a month, or do you want to wait?
We can do that if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, I have July 8th or 29th or any time after that, if the board would like to pick one.
I'll leave it up to you.
Well,
I do it the last meeting in July.
29th?
Yep. That way it gives the farmers plenty of time to get done.
That's why I picked July, yeah. Is that a motion?
Sure.
Second. All signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Now
We have
motion.
public meeting?
Yep.
Yeah, we got a public meeting. Yeah.
Middle Fork.
I have a question. I got a paper from St. Drainage Board's taxes for Upper Middle Fork.
That's what this public.
Yeah, we're getting ready to do that right now.
So this one's for Middle Fork Upper, public hearing. Anybody want to speak, come up to the podium?
Raymond, bring it up to date first.
Oh,
Yeah, Raymond will read the survey report. I put one in front of you.
Is it Middle Fork or Middle Ford?
Middle
Fork,
Fork.
my bad, Middle Fork.
Okay, I'm okay,
Fork,
okay.
like you eat with, yeah, I'm sorry.
Middle Fork.
It's right everywhere else.
Do you want me to read this?
Okay.
Might you read this?
Jim used to, yeah. I don't know if you want to do it like he did it.
I, Raymond Bear, the duly elected and acting surveyor of Grant County, would report to the Drainage Board on the drainage of the Middle Fork Upper Drain, 626B, situated in Green Township, sections 1, 2, 3, 28, 33, and 34, and section 6 in Liberty Township, which was petitioned for maintenance assessment by the Drainage Board in the above entitled cause of action as required by law, and after having the viewer's favorable finding in said matter does report as follows. There is currently no maintenance being assessed Due to the increased cost of maintaining this drain, the Grant County Drainage Board would like the drain assessed at $10 per acre with $50 per home site, $25 per parcel, and $25 minimum for an 8-year collection.
Any questions from anybody?
Richard, there's objections if you want to see them. Gordon and Kenny already saw it. I think Chuck did too.
It was part of the watershed, the part that's shaded like that. One was gone. You guys like one? You already got one?
Yeah, I know.
Can you refresh my memory? There's a lower Middle Fork, an upper Middle Fork. This hearing just for upper Middle Fork.
Correct.
What?
The part with the, where it's got the rectangle in,
Okay.
that shade is the upper Middle Fork. If you follow it down, you have a hashtag area. That would be the lower Middle Fork. When we started this, we had approached it to start with all of Middle Fork being combined together. Then the decision was made to separate Waters Ditch, Polywalk Ditch, and Upper Middle Fork by themselves. And then all three of them would pay for Lower Middle Fork to keep the Lower Middle Fork, seeing as all three of them use Lower Middle Fork. So,
We're not having a hearing on lower Middle Fork.
correct, not yet.
Yeah, not yet. They will possibly.
Possibly, but I think there's possibly only 2 landowners down there. They may keep it open and not have to be assessed. It's almost a river down there. I mean, it's a pretty good sized ditch.
Okay. Just,
Yeah.
So go back and say, I wasn't listening. Which part is the upper Middle Fork? Which color on this map?
The lighter orange in this,
The orange,
between the
okay.
green and the dark.
Oh, this one.
The one that's
I
got
guess it
the,
says that, agreed.
there you go.
Yeah.
There's, no, where'd it go? Oh. When they combine them, it makes it hard to decipher. We have Grant County and Madison County combined in the assessment roll for the total of acreage. The Grant County side is approximately 3,000 acres, give or take 20 acres. And the rest of that is coming from Madison County. But we had to get, Madison County has the Timothy Metcalf watershed, the George Myers watershed, the Rigdon Tile watershed that crosses the property or the county line. And then there's a stretch in between Rigdon Tile and Timothy Metcalf that comes into Middle Fork without going through the other drains. So I do believe that's a total accumulation of everybody that's on Upper Middle Fork.
Now, will our assessment affect the other county?
Yes, yeah, they'll.
And they waive their right?
Yes.
Okay.
They waived their right.
That's what they did.
They're in the pile somewhere.
Okay.
Yep, Brian Bays. You have a copy of that, don't you? Okay.
so how many acres represent Madison County, you know, roughly?
And I do not have it on in front of me, Gordon.
Okay. You said 3,000 the grant, right?
Yes,
Okay. And is most of this Madison County a open ditch or tiles are coming in?
most of it's tile.
Okay.
Okay, I'm done, I think, unless you guys have more questions for me.
Else got any questions?
Open it up.
All right, open up to the public, sir.
My
State your
name is
name.
Titus. I live at 11851 South, 600 West, Fairmount. And a tile runs through my yard, across the road through his yard, to the ditch. The ditch is full. When the ditch fills up, my yard fills up. I have pictures if you need them. I mean, there's trees in different places where it's just plugged. You couldn't even walk through there. And it goes all the way down. You want to go down along the county line, there's trees along the ditch where the county line is. Just plug in the ditch. Me and him, he lives right across the street from me. And when it rains, all the surface water just sits on my yard until the ditch goes down. If it gets too high, we get water backing up through the tiles backwards. So you can, drainage tile's not gonna do, a drainage ditch to me or a tile maintenance, we paid before. And they came in and put a tile or two here or there, but they never cleaned the ditch.
As far as I remember, Middle Fork's never been on maintenance.
So the neighbor before he passed away, Kenny Hipes, told me they cleaned it in 1940. But all these farmers keep plugging in field tile to the ditch.
This fund would be used to remove the trees from the ditch so you would get better drainage, is what the fund would be used for.
I don't mind paying if they would do something, because me and him did it before. And they came in Joe Seward put a couple tiles in, but they did nothing to the ditch.
That's what this fund would be used for, is to clean the ditch, to get the ditch opened up.
But that's what I wanted, to make sure the ditch was gonna be cleaned.
Where you live at exactly? Do you live in the edge of Rigdon?
Yes,
There's a church there.
I live right across the street. And
Okay.
he lives right south of it.
Okay, well, I just kind of wondered,
You know where Shepherd's lived?
no, I don't,
Well, you know,
but
you're the first house when you come in,
yeah, okay,
then your church, then his house, and then my house.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a mess. It definitely needs trees removed from the ditch.
well, it goes on, the open part goes on across.
Goes all the way to,
7.
I think it goes all the way to Wildcat Creek.
Yeah, I did,
Eventually, yes. Yes.
yeah. It's a mess.
Yeah, Kitty tried to approach it last year with a 30 acre and it was shot down by Madison County. Because it's gonna cost a fortune to go from all the way down at the bottom and all the way at the top. Removing those trees is gonna cost a fortune, and then start again when it starts getting dredged. It's gonna cost another fortune. So it's gonna be a slow process. But if you're flooding, let us know and we'll spend money in that.
His backyard floods from all the rain from Madison County, because it comes across that open ditch right down the back of his yard.
Yeah.
Well, we're raising money to fix it.
It's gonna be a long time to fix it though,
Yeah.
because I think.
Yeah, it won't be in your lifetime, probably.
$2 an acre.
I'm just being honest.
If they would just take the stuff that was in the ditch out of the ditch.
Yep.
There's trees down there probably 3 or 4 foot, they're laying in the ditch.
Are you talking about in Rigdon?
Well, just
Or
right
you're not
out
talking
there.
about, you're not talking about a ditch that connects to the,
I'm talking the
middle
ditch
part?
that runs at 600 to 700.
just looking at the map, trying to see what you're talking about. Wait, where are you on the map?
I don't have my glasses, so. I borrowed them.
Where's on the map?
Just north or south, north of the county
No, Middle
line.
Park's right here, and this is Rigdon.
Is this road
Right there.
county line road or what?
Part of it does.
Goes along. There's a branch there that comes into the north.
Yeah.
That's 1,200. North and
It's just.
In Madison
Southern Grant County.
Oh, then you're here, that's your
Turns in.
On it, are you on it?
That's Rigdon. There's a campground. It runs around right against the county line down here.
Is there anybody else from the public want to come up and speak?
Oh, you want to talk? Go
I
ahead.
think what we're, like I say, I'm just a block away from Madison County line.
Yeah.
when it rains, it comes in the back field, backside of my property, 11840 South, 600 West. And when she rains hard, she comes from both directions off of Madison County, and you can see it just, it floods the whole field. And then when it fills the field, it's got no place to go, so it ends up, everything's in my backyard. Even the drainage ditch that comes across 600 from his to mine, it even backs up there and blows the cap off, and it just floods everything in my yard. And when he gets done raining over there, it all ends up on my yard.
You know, on 37, where Earl Duncan's house was, where they put that open ditch along 37, they didn't make a ditch, really. And it flows right off of 37, right down Mill Street, right where Duncan used to live, right down my yard. And then when it gets done with mine, it goes in the ditch.
You're on the upper end of a branch of this whole thing.
Now, I'm only, what, 607 pounds long, maybe, I don't know how many. I can see the ditch from my house.
Yeah. The ditch runs through Hidden Lake Campground. One ditch.
Up further, yeah.
Pardon?
The campground's up further than what they are.
Yeah,
They're down
but
there.
it's the same.
Yeah, same ditch.
Same ditch.
Yeah, if it can't move downstream from you, it's gonna build up on you.
Yeah.
You got trees like that running in the ditch.
I have to walk back there and make sure that Rigdon Tile has a good outlet still.
Are you for or for?
I'm a forward.
1940, that's the
Yeah,
time.
needs it again.
Hasn't been anything done to it since then.
So does anybody else like to speak?
Yeah. Did you want to say something?
No.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sarah Cox. I own Leisure Farms and Shady Nook Farm. The Middle Fork goes right through my farm. And also the waters in the Polywalk from last year also run right through my farm. So as you can imagine, I'm getting a pretty substantial increase in my property tax bills, along with just increased assessments. I mean, we're talking like 30 to 40% more on my property taxes than what it was 2 years ago. So you can understand my concern that, so, you know, my family's owned this land since 1875 to 1885. I was going through documents to submit for my Hoosier homestead. And actually, I'm going to get 2 Hoosier homesteads this year for 2 sides of my family that I have owned this property since the 1870s and 80s. So it hasn't been assessed for drainage for many years, and maybe since the 1880s, because I have documents for the original assessments that my great-great-grandfather was in charge of the drainage board, whatever it was called at that time. So we go way back. But, I mean, I hear what, like, he's saying about that part being all clogged with trees. Mine is not. We just had huge, rain last month, and, I really have no flooding. So, I mean, other than surface water that takes a little bit of time to go away, I mean, the creek isn't flooding the road, there's not a bunch of trees clogging it up that's impairing the flow from my farm, which is, you can see it on there. Let's see, my farm's on 1100. So it goes from 800 west, 1100 south, and then goes all the way over to 1000. Yeah, so mine goes right through the center here of the property.
Watershed.
Yeah, the watershed, thank you, yeah. And, we also, the Middle Fork goes right through, I live there now on the farm, and the watershed the creek goes right through the pastures, which currently don't have any livestock in them, but that is a plan of ours. This is to bring livestock back to the farm, so it goes right through there and next to some pretty historic barns and properties of the farm. So I just have concerns that work that's done is actually necessary, is economically makes sense. That, our goal is that we need to have productive farmland for the farms, and I understand that. I mean, I'm sorry that some of these yards floods, that's terrible too, but our point here, these drains are here so that the farms are productive, and I understand that. But we just need to make sure that we are thinking about what we're doing and that it makes sense. I mean, the only problem I've had is beaver dams. And so it's interesting to me that we've already taken money out of the Polywalk for a beaver dam. If I can do that, I'll be back because I've taken out mine myself, which is difficult. And then, the beavers, they come back despite your best efforts, and they're really cool, but.
See, if everybody took care of it like your family did, we wouldn't have this problem.
Well, I mean, there are some trees I can't get out by myself, right? But I mean, I'm just saying in general, I've walked this entire property line. Like we are aware of what's going on, and there's not a problem in my area. Now,
But we can't go through and assess this piece and not this.
I understand that. Honestly, it is a big chunk of money, right? But the ditch should have been assessed for a long time, right? So my issue is that I just want to make sure that I don't get every tree ripped out in a whole big mess for something that doesn't need to be done. Because, we have a really nice farm, a really beautiful historic farm. We have bald eagles that are there now. We have wildlife. We have foxes. We have, unfortunately, beavers. But I mean, it's otter. I had an otter on my pond this year. I mean, it's really this is because we have allowed, some wildlife and some environment to coexist. And if we just cut every tree down and spray everything, and we just have a grassy ditch across the whole area, then you have ruined that. For what? For a few extra bucks of corn? I mean, it's not. You got to make sure you're doing something that makes a difference. So, not just giving the excavator business. So, I just want to make sure that this is talked about. I'm a little concerned about how agendas are not put online for the drainage board. So I've been trying to watch this to try to figure out when this is happening because I knew this was going to happen. And I mean, I'm sure I probably missed something, but it's not clear.
Didn't you get a letter?
I got this letter, but it's too late, right? I mean, I want to know when, it's not too late to protest, but I don't want to find out when an excavator shows up to my property that stuff's happening. I want to be part of the process. I'm a major landowner
When did we
here.
first talk about this? A couple of years ago?
It's been talked about, yeah. I mean,
You were here once.
I was here last year for Polywalk and Water, so I'm just putting my word out there.
Minutes are posted on the Grant County website.
The what?
The minute.
The minutes, but that's after the fact.
Well, I can't post them until they approve them.
Well, you could, I know, but the agendas aren't posted. The agenda of the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
It never has
is that
been.
what the minutes?
No, I think most counties, when they have a meeting, if you have a planning commission meeting or whatever, the agenda is posted ahead of time, and you can monitor that and say, oh, there's something that they're talking about this meeting that I would like to be at. And I think you guys should do that. The minutes, yeah, you can go back and read it, but all that's already been voted on and decided, and that would just be a suggestion that would be very helpful for those of us that have 3 jobs and can't just walk into every Tuesday or however often you have this meeting to see what's happening. So that's my protest, is that we make sure. Now, I would say on the waters, I know we're not talking about the waters, but on the waters, my area of the waters does have some trees that need to come out, and we are I was kind of talking about how we were going to do that. Yeah, I could call you, couldn't I? Yeah. I got a big drain problem where it's running across on the waters, where it's running across the road from another field and kind of is washing out my outlet. And so I know I'm gonna have to kind of work on what the solution to that is, but there is some issues. But on the Middle Fork in my area, which is, I mean, it's gonna be 1.5 miles of more as the creek flows of area that is not an issue.
Is Max Lazier your grandfather?
Max Lazier was my grandpa,
Okay.
yeah, that's right.
How much money Max has been gone many years?
Yeah.
And before then, how much money did they pay for drainage, this ditch that drains?
Oh, yeah.
Nothing. They got since originally did. And it's a time to
But they
pay the
did take
piper.
care of it.
That's right, time to pay the piper. So that
Well,
means,
They're between Rigdon and Wildcat Creek, if that goes that far.
Right, but I'm just saying, it's not like, it's wherever he's saying the blockage is, it's not my part that's backing it up.
Blockage is between 600 and 700. You go on 700, it's pretty clear all the way down. But you go from 600 to 700, because it goes along the county line, then it goes north, then it goes east, and then it goes up there by the campground.
yeah, but that's only one branch. We're talking about whole branches before that.
And it goes across 37, it goes all the way around back to the county line.
Yeah, I know
Is
exactly
he
where it
talking
goes.
about the actual middle fork or a ditch that goes into the middle fork? That's what I was talking
Actual middle fork.
about. Okay,
Turns into the Timothy Metcalf at the county line.
okay.
Why are we here? We're having a hearing on the
Yes,
cost.
having a hearing.
Yeah.
Set the rates.
What's the figures that we're voting on?
Charge me. Oh, and I was talking to you the other day about that two acre, Raymond, that 2 acre plot. And you figured I was right. Well, then you've assessed it again on this one, so I can only pay one. I mean, you've assessed it twice. I just figured that out. I can give you the paper, yeah. Okay.
And they recommended 10 acres, they wouldn't buy it anymore.
I mean, and that's not gonna, like you said, that's not gonna pay for anything.
It's a Band-Aid,
Yeah.
because we did.
But a little better than nothing.
That's right, you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
And they haven't paid any money to keep this thing on since 1940.
We just
They did it
At
40.
least.
Care of it ourselves. Yeah.
And that's the reason it's about kind of shape it's in.
Yep.
So if you take your Band-Aid money and you clean out the problem that's just flooding his yard and you leave mine alone, you'll never hear from me again.
And it moves it from them to you because now the water's getting down there.
Yeah, well then, yeah.
You gotta get rid of it downstream.
I know, but I'm saying, I'm not the problem, I'm not blocking it downstream.
Right.
Yeah, it's doing well. That huge rain, it did well. Yeah.
All right, ma'am, we thank you.
All right.
Is there any more? Okay, we'll close it to the public and we'll talk about it, go from there.
I think we talked about it.
Gotta raise money, gotta do it.
I understand, we got to have some money, get that cleaned out so regular water can get
Yep.
wet, so good. And maybe when it goes through her place, the ditches is open,
Yep.
but from Rigdon to.
Well, and on downstream, it's bad. Yeah, so it's not, her place may be clear, I'm not saying.
Right.
But I know between, they're not clear. And you gotta start down to the bottom, you can't start at the top end. You gotta start at the bottom end.
That's a problem.
And it's gonna be, at $10 an acre, it's gonna be, I probably won't be here a long time
Be a long time.
before it gets out to these people.
Yep.
$10 an acre is not very much.
Yes.
Band-Aid.
This is a comparable, Big Deer Creek goes in,
Comes down
it's the next one down west, east.
Yes.
And we did it in 1999, I think.
Probably needs done again, don't it?
Yeah, well,
Parts of it for
yeah,
sure.
parts of it does, but it made so much difference. We don't have flooding now, and this is a problem here, they're going, and until you get it done,
Get it done.
but you gotta start somewhere.
Yep.
So do we have a motion?
What is it you want to make it? It is very much. $10 an acre, $50 home site, $25 a parcel, $25 minimum for an 8-year collection. I'll make a motion.
Do I got a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
If there's no,
I think I have with me. Yeah, I have enough copies.
if nothing is filed, it'll be,
assessment roll.
Maintenance will be established next year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I already paid my taxes this year.
Yeah, it's,
Can't have any more.
So we got a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
aye.
That's just saying that we approve this.
Get to work, Whitney.
Hey, thank you, guys.
Probably, turn that off first.
I hit the wall, I thought I ran into you.
You gotta shut it off, you don't have to turn it on.
Right here, buddy.
I don't know, I got a thing from a consulting company over there.
I'm not sure it's any good.